Hey everyone, just want to do a quick unboxing and first impression of this HD capture device I picked up off Amazon. So it's labeled the AGPtek HD Video Capture, but it's actually just a rebranded EZCap 280. So if you Google that, you'll probably find a bit more information about it. So it's a little bit different than an Elgato or something like that because this type of device you can actually record directly onto a USB drive. So you just sort of plug any USB drive into it as long as it's formatted properly and it records to that. So you don't need to have a computer at all while you're recording. Now the other big difference between this and some of the other capture devices out there is the price. It's actually really cheap. It's just over $70 US. I paid about 95 Canadian for it. So there's quite a difference in price between this and some of the other offerings out there. So it'll be interesting to see how it stacks up. So this is the device itself. There's not a lot to it. It's just a small box with a few different plugs on it. Just get into it here. It's actually quite light as well. Alright, so you see we've got the USB port that you plug your USB drive into. And on the back we've got an input and an output for your HDMI cables. And this one as well looks like it goes to the component cable. So yeah, like I said, it's quite light. There's not much to it. Take a look at what else is in the box here. Should be some cables. Fairly nice packaging actually for a budget device like this. Okay, got a manual, some quick start instructions, and they actually include an HDMI cable with it, so that's kind of nice, a short one. And we got a software CD, probably don't even need that. And looks like the component cable. So this could plug into something that outputs to component video like a cable box or a PlayStation 3, and it just plugs right into this port here. Okay, and last in here looks like, yeah, we've got a power brick, so just a normal AC adapter. So I'm interested to see how this thing's actually going to perform, so let's take a look and see how the recording quality is. You'll play Overwatch. I think it's a good game to test this on. And just so that we have something to compare to, I'm recording with the EZCap and with Shadowplay at the same time. Shadowplay is NVIDIA's recording tool for its video cards, so this is going to be a really high quality capture, so it'll give us a good baseline to compare to. The first thing I noticed when watching these recordings was that it was actually pretty hard to tell which of these was recorded with the EZCap and which was recorded with Shadowplay. I actually had to go back to my render to make sure I labeled the sides of the video correctly. You can see a difference when you start looking a little bit closer though. For instance, if you look at the top of the screen where the text is mostly static, you'll see that it looks a little bit blurrier on the EZCap. You'll also notice some visible compression artifacts on the EZCap side sometimes, but that's pretty much unavoidable considering it captures at a much lower bitrate than the Shadowplay. So how about the actual device itself? How easy is it to use? Well, the most obvious thing is that it's a standalone device, so you don't need a computer to record with it. You just have to plug in your HDMI cable and a USB drive, push the little red button, and it'll start recording. I did run into a few issues though. Probably the most frustrating one was trying to get a USB drive that was formatted correctly to work with it. I tried a couple drives before I found one that actually worked, and I had to format it as FAT32 to actually get it to record anything. The documentation says that the device also accepts NTFS formatted drives, but when I tried to put one into it, it actually corrupted the entire drive. Luckily I had nothing on it, but it was obvious that it wasn't working properly. After I figured that out, I tried a couple other drives formatted as FAT32, and they all seemed to work without an issue. The only other small problem I ran into was trying to get the audio to record properly. The audio you're hearing in this clip is actually from the Shadowplay recording because my EZCap recording never did record the audio. Now, to be fair, that is my fault because I didn't actually set the audio output to go to the EZCap, but it's just something for you to watch out for if you try and record something with this yourself. One more thing worth mentioning is that when you're recording at 1080p, the EZCap will only record at a max of 30 frames per second. The frame rate is very solid though, and I didn't notice any dropped frames at all. So I hope you enjoyed this quick look at the AGPtek HD Video Capture, also known as the EZCap 280. I think it's actually a pretty nice little device. It does exactly what I need it to. You can pretty much record anything that uses HDMI or component, and it records to a USB drive, so you don't need a computer. Now, obviously, you're not going to do any streaming with this, but if you're just looking to record basically anything with HDMI output, I think this is a great option, and it's less than half the cost of some of the other devices out there. If you think this is something that interests you, I definitely recommend checking it out. Thanks for watching.